Well, speaking of fees and money and things, my show doesn't really have a big budget. I'm just starting out. So I told Nixon that I would pay him in a year's supply of dog food for checkers. Any brand he liked, like Alpo or Canovation or Cycle 1 or Cycle 2. I think there's even a new cycle for dead dogs. And he said that he would do it for that fee, but do you think he'll really be happy with that fee and take it
Well,
seriously?
negotiating fees with Nixon was quite challenging back then when he lived on the West Coast, but one must consider where he probably currently resides, which I would surmise is much, much further south, and the climate is much, much hotter than sunny California, and I don't mean Mexico. So earthly currency is doing him no good, and premium dog food like that is not likely to be available there, so I think your fee is really quite generous. There are one or two questions I'd be most grateful if you asked. For instance, what did you think of the film portrayal of him recently with Frank Langella, who to many people seemed more like Boris Karloff? And just in general, how did you feel that, the film captured our time together during the interview
Well, you're
process?
giving me such good advice here, David. I never thought to ask that question, and I'll be sure to ask it. And I'd also like to know how he liked being played by Sir Anthony Hopkins, because Sir Anthony Hopkins played Nixon, but he also played Hannibal Lecter a few years before that or after that. And I think it's kind of funny to think of the same person playing Richard Nixon, who, also plays a character that rips people's faces off and eats them. So, you know what else I wanted to ask him too? Because I saw these debates from like 1960 of Kennedy and Nixon before either of them was president. And the camera would go to Kennedy, and he would be all handsome, and he had dimples, and had nice hair, and he would always smile and laugh. And then the camera would pan over to Nixon, and he would be looking all mean and sweaty, and he needed a shave, and his cheeks were kind of wobbly like a hound dog, which is cute if you're a dog, but not, not so much for a human. But I wonder if he thought that Kennedy was handsome, and if not, who he thought the best looking president was, or maybe like who even the ugliest president was.
Well, another brilliant and irreverent approach, Mr. Wiggleson. He may be appalled by the question and feel it's beneath him to answer, which is difficult to claim when you're in hell already, but, because he is up there with the most gangliest of presidents, but there were some ghastly presidents going back to last century, like Martin Van Buren, who rather looked like Larry from the Three Stooges, and even Lincoln, God love him, was certainly no Cary Grant. Well, I'm going to have to shove off soon to dine at the White Castle with my lady friend, but it was a great pleasure for me, as well, to be your first guest broadcast on the Mr. Wiggles interview program. I'm really looking forward to seeing the Hitler and Manson interviews and how you handle those dastardly fellows. Oh, and also thank you very much for the double stuffed Oreos that you sent over. I know they are your signature cookie, and they do match your colouring so well. We must sit down together at a pub afterwards with your interview with Nixon and have a pint and a laugh and compare notes and all of that.
Well, Sir David, thank you so much for your advice and all your help, and you're just so smart and so classy, and I wish I could talk like you. And I had a really good time, and it was so nice just to talk to someone who was actually nice. Especially after interviewing Adolf Hitler and Charles Manson, and Manson was really nasty. I mean, Hitler was wacky and all, but at least he was polite, and he thanked me for my double stuffed Oreos. And I want to thank all my viewers and let them know that there will be other videos posting soon of Hitler and Manson and Saddam Hussein and lots of other famous mean people. So if you like this video and want to see more, then just hit that little subscribe button and you will see when I have new interviews that are posted. So good night and God bless, and please don't be mean.